Yo, what up, man? Listen, I was laying here in bed trying to get a little extra rest. I had to take my cat to the vet this morning to go get a vagina ripped out. But, you know what I mean? I was laying here, you know how it works, man. Listen, you start watching YouTube, then you watch some more YouTube, and then you watch some more YouTube, and as you know what I mean, get into the videos, you know what I mean? Eventually one of them's going to piss you the fuck off to the point where you're like, you're going to have to bitch about it. And like, yo, when I bitch about things, I come and I talk to y'all about them, right? So this is a video about groundwater being used up in the United States, and like in the first like 2 seconds of this video, it aggravated me enough that I like was like, you know what, bro, I'm gonna fucking look this shit up. And I looked it up, and it was nonsense. And I'm like, yo, let's have a conversation, bro, like real shit. All right, so let's get into this. You know what I'm saying? And then like, yo, because I grabbed a bunch of evidence just to tell them shut the fuck up. It's dumb, but like, listen, I do have some solutions for this. Let's talk about this. All right.
Unchecked groundwater use is draining aquifers across the country, threatening drinking water and the nation's status as a food superpower.
Corn is the highest water-using crop there is out here. I don't think the farm could sustain it.
Wait a minute. What the fuck did this broad just say, bro? Like, this broad is ridiculous. Like, this broad is... Okay, let's talk about this. Okay, so, like, I literally went, like, look this shit up, right? You know, I mean, this is by net, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm not going to stand here and say that, like, corn doesn't use a bunch of water. Because corn 100% uses a bunch of fucking water. But, like, if you look at, like, the largest things that use water is, like, almonds, alfalfa, rice, you know, sugar cane, right? These things use a lot of fucking water. Like, yo, look, bro, here, we got more things, right? Look. You see that big blue line on the bottom? Alfalfa, then pistachios, almonds, pasture, which is cows and shit, rice, right? And then, like, others, like, fucking trees and shit, right? I'm sorry, like, it's all blurry. You know what I mean? How thirsty is our food? Like, oh, meat, nuts, sheep, goat, meat, you know what I mean? Chicken meat, eggs, cereals, milk, fruit, corn's not even on here, bro. Like, real shit. Let's keep going, bro. All right, look here. Applied water. Look at this. Trees and vines, vegetables, berries, field grain. Look at corn. Right? Look at this. Look at this. Only thing less than berries, but alfalfa, trees and vines, field and grain. Way more, motherfucking, way more. Look, alfalfa again. Look, alfalfa, almonds, rice, orchards, then corn, grapes, cotton, tomatoes, onions, potatoes, and garlic. Onions, and garlic, and potatoes. I'll be honest with you, I'm thinking about making some onions and fucking potatoes and garlic, bro. Like, that sounds fucking bomb right now. Throw a little bacon in, a little cheese and shit, man. Listen, I got some sour cream too. Listen, I'm gonna make some of that here when I'm done doing this shit, right? But like, real talk, like, you see all this nonsense? Like, do you see all this ridiculous nonsense, bro? Like, this is, why would they say these words out of their face hole? Right? It aggravates me because, like, 100% our groundwater usage is a fucking problem. Us running out of water is an issue. Us, like, destroying the motherfucking topsoil is an issue. Us using too many fucking chemicals is an issue. All of these things are 100% a fucking problem. Right? There's no need to lie. Right? There's no need. This is why, like, nobody trusts experts, like, at all. This is why, like, we're like, bro, like, every time a female talks, you might as well assume that she's just fucking lying through her teeth. Right? This is why we assume these things, because it's like, you fucking are. It's not necessary, dog. Let's keep going.
Underground water helped transform the dusty sandhills of Kansas into bountiful farmland. But now, that water is disappearing.
I would say it's an existential threat.
Here's why time is running out for parts of this critical aquifer, and what it reveals about the larger groundwater crisis unfolding across the country. Garden City, Kansas. Wind 30 miles per hour. Several times a year, Brownie Wilson travels across western Kansas to measure wells and track the rapid decline of the Ogallala Aquifer, the largest underground store of fresh water in the United States.
This is what we call an index well, in that it records the water levels on an hourly basis.
Since Wilson started working at the Kansas Geological Survey more than 20 years ago, many of the wells have declined by more than 100 feet.
So this
Bro, listen, here's the question, right? And this has always been, like, in the end of the day, like, the fucking problem, right? And I'm gonna tell you why, okay? Like, because all you really have to do is, like, in order to make these videos properly, how deep is Ogallala Reservoir groundwater, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, how deep is it, right? Oh, wait a minute, listen, I don't need the images. Right. You know what I mean? Like, cause this is the Okalala waterford, right, bro? Listen, its thickness averages 95 feet. It has a maximum thickness of 800 feet. Okay, right, 800 feet. Right, that's where we are. Right, that's in Texas, bro. Like, listen, 1,200 feet, 433 feet. Right. You know what I mean? Like this is why like nobody like respects y'all motherfuckers. Like at least you can do is like listen. These wells are technically on average they average around 400 or 500 feet or 1,200 feet or 800 feet, and they've reduced by like 100 feet. Like that's still a fucking problem. You know what I mean? Like yo, you don't have to like hide nonsense. Just be honest with people, bro. Like it's fucking dumb. This is how you do this shit. It's not that difficult to do.
This well has dropped about 150 feet since the 1950s.
The Okalala Aquifer is the lifeblood of one of the world's most abundant farming communities, stretching from Kansas to eastern Colorado and the Oklahoma and Texas panhandles. Today, it supports about 30% of all U.S. crop and animal production. But in 2019, parts of the aquifer reached their lowest levels since the U.S. Geological Survey started measuring more than 7 decades ago. The once abundant water allowed farms, like this one, to grow cheap cattle feed from alfalfa and corn. It fueled the feedlots and dairy farms that now dot the landscape of southwest Kansas.
There would be no Garden City if it wasn't for the beef industry.
Gina and her brother Mark Jiggett are farmers trying to preserve the water below their land. For decades, their family has used groundwater to grow corn and other types of row crops. The 9,000-acre farm has historically been one of Kansas's largest water users.
The only thing that southwest Kansas has is agriculture, and without agriculture, this is going to be a total ghost town and full of tumbleweeds.
Irrigation can more than double the amount of corn grown per acre, but it comes at a cost, requiring farmers to drain the aquifer. Scarce rainfall in the region isn't enough to sustain industrial-scale agriculture.
All right, here's what needs to happen. Let's keep this all the way 100. All right, this is what needs to fucking happen. Okay, is like what you need to do is on a state level, right? You know what I mean? Or a county level, probably state level would be best, right? Because like they have some type of like basic power. You need to put in like a water usage fee, right? For every ton of fucking corn sold, right? So like when the companies go to buy corn, right? And like you put it, I'll be honest, what you should probably do is attach it to the futures, the futures index, right? Is like every ton on that index should have $100 premium on it. Right, you know what I mean? That way, like motherfuckers stop eating so much fucking corn. They don't waste it. Like, and this is the problem is this boomer idea of just like whatever comes out of the ground is basically free wealth. Right? It's fucking dumb. That's not how this works. Because like that water is fucking a necessity, not just for them, but for everybody. Right? Like everybody needs this fucking water. Like the animals need the fucking water. Everybody needs the fucking water. Right? We all have to be able to survive. Right, and need to make this sustainable long term, right? So like we can all survive for like a long time, and you can't just be like using it up because you're like, you know what, man? Listen, this is our land. No, okay, you need to fucking understand that, like, yo, there are costs to everything you fucking do, right? This is dumb. All right, this is not a fucking unlimited resource. I understand it like the boomers, like, money, I like my money, my McDonald's, right? But like what you have to do is smack the fucking boomer in the mouth, all right? Like just grab Warren Buffett and just smack him right in the fucking mouth and tell him shut the fuck up, all right? You motherfuckers don't get to ruin every fucking thing, all right? You don't get to destroy everything that we've all built, okay? Like real shit. Fucking dumb, bro. Like, let's keep going.
About 90% of the water that's used in our state comes from a groundwater supply, and 80 to 85% of that is used for irrigation. And so there are certain areas where we have lost 50, 60, 70% of what the aquifer was there going back to the 1940s or 1950s.
That water could take centuries or millennia to replenish, meaning regions like West Kansas risk losing access to those reserves in the future when they might need it even more. A lifetime map of the Ogallala Aquifer in Kansas reveals just how dire the situation is.
There are some areas in west central Kansas where the water table has been drawn down so much that it no longer can support irrigated agriculture.
As farms use up the groundwater, corn yields have declined in some areas, like in Kansas's Wichita County.
Again, listen, so we shouldn't be thinking about this as far as like yields are concerned. Okay, like you shouldn't be thinking about this as a, like, oh, fucking, we need to be the world's agricultural superpower. No, what we need to do is worry about like feeding our people properly and like having them be healthy. Okay, that's fucking probably more important than growing massive amounts of fucking calories. Like real shit. This is a basic ass thing. Can we have a real actual conversation about what is sustainable population wise? Right? Because this is obviously not doable anymore. Right, like you cannot keep feeding people. I mean, like we could if you want to go to K rations, you know what I'm saying? We just go down and like, just eat, 1,500 calories a day a piece. But that seems like a shitty life, right? Can we get back to like some basic shit where like we're no longer doing this, right? Can we pay our fucking farmers a decent wage? Can we, like, I feel like we should raise the price of food a lot. Right? To the point where like the farmers are able to like sustain themselves. Because the average farmer, like we looked this up the other day, the average farmer makes something like negative $800 a year. Right? They make, how they make money? Because their wives go work a fucking regular job, or they go hold a part-time job during the winter or whatever it is when they're not farming. Like, this is dumb. Like, this shit is fucking stupid. If you're not making money, right, this is not a sustainable thing, right? Like, if you're not making money doing this is not something you should, like, we should be, it's not that you shouldn't be doing it. It's that, like, we should be fixing what the fuck is wrong that you're not making money doing this. Let's keep going.
In 2023, U.S. corn growers produced an average of 173 bushels per acre, but in Wichita, the yield was less than half of that, part of a decades-long decline. To extend the life of the aquifer, the Jiggets have switched to less water-intensive crops, like triticale and forage sorghum. To supplement their income, they've also planted fields for cattle grazing.
We knew at that point in time that we had to make a major change within our industry, and it all surrounded around water.
They've used irrigation more strategically, too. Soil moisture probes show them the water content of the soil, so they irrigate only when the soil needs it. All of these measures allowed them to cut their water use by about...
Bro, listen, this is not a new technology. Like, why were you not doing this before? Like, why are you just dumping water on a field if it don't need it, bro? Like, why are you not measuring? These are all things you should be doing. Like, you shouldn't just be wasting fucking money. And this is the problem when things are free, man. Legit. This is an issue when things are free. And, like, I try to set these things, like, in my brain, I'm like, all right, bro, I don't want to tax the farmers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want them losing more money. Like, that's not fucking cool. Right? But, like, what we want to do is we want to, like, fucking have, like, some way to be able to go, like, we got to tax the overall market. We got to tax the end consumer, right? And we got to tax the middleman, right, who's buying the fucking crop, right? You have to, like, hit the fucking futures market, too. You got to hit everybody on this fucking joint. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to hit the farmer any harder, right? Because the farmer's already fucked. So I was like, bro, listen, but like real shit, I think maybe y'all motherfucker do need, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe you do need to like have like a tax put on you for using water because like, you're just wasting it. And I don't want to be a dick, but you're literally just wasting it. Like, come on, dog. You know what I mean? Like, if this is not what grows here, probably shouldn't grow there. Right? Maybe that 9,000 acre motherfucking farm should be, like 9,001 acre motherfucking farms, right? Where people can garden and grow some like proper shit. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, that is fucking ridiculous. Like, if your large operation isn't sustainable, maybe it shouldn't be done. Keeping it 100, right? Like, maybe it should be smaller, right? To the point where you're like, hey, look, let's, like grow things that make money and make sense and aren't so water intensive and aren't so like resource intensive and all these type of things, right? It doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, there has to be, you know what I mean? Like, fucking some way to like square this fucking circle. Because I don't want to hurt the farmers because like they're already like asked the fuck out. But this is ridiculous. Y'all motherfuckers is just lackadaisical with your shit. Let's keep going.
About 26% over the last 7 years. But some hydrology experts say it will take even more drastic measures to save the aquifer.
Estimates of what would it take to slow down these groundwater declines are ranging from 20 to 30 to 40, some places 50% reduction in what is used each year.
Policy experts say groundwater regulation is key to reaching those targets.
Groundwater laws across the country are really more of a patchwork. They're not consistent from one state to another.
Burke Griggs is a law professor at Washburn University, specializing in water law and policy.
If you own land above an aquifer, then you're entitled, as a matter of owning that land, to use a reasonable amount of groundwater.
Throughout most of the country, groundwater has been treated as an unlimited natural resource. Federal law plays almost no role.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, because if we keep this all the way honest, all right? So, like, if you have a giant business, okay, like a big business, you know, like you're doing industry, you're not using groundwater, right? Like, you're using, you know what I mean, like city water so you can be metered and pay for it and, like, all the things that come with that, you know what I mean? Like, there's balances and checks and all the things that are dealt with that, right? But if you're a household, you have every right, like, listen, right, like, and fill up your motherfucking kiddie pool and, you know, take a shower every fucking day and wash your dishes and do your laundry. Because it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't come out to, like, a lot, right, in the end of the day. And so as it rains, like, it gets replenished and, like, everybody's cool. Like, we have a massive aquifer here and it doesn't drain. You know why it doesn't drain? Because we don't fucking use it like that. We don't stand here and use our we don't irrigate our fucking crops all like that. We're not throwing water. Why? For the most part, number one, because it rains. Right? You know what I mean? Then number two, because, like, yo, we don't fucking need to, right? Like, listen, like, we support our farmers in our state where, like, for instance, like, milk cannot be sold at less than $5 a fucking gallon. It's been this way forever, right? And like we complain, I hear people complain about it, and I tell them, shut the fuck up. I like having dairy farmers, right? Because, like, I support the fucking dairy farmers, and the dairy farmers stay as dairy farmers, right? Their kids become dairy farmers, and I'm fucking great with that, and that is amazing, and we love them, and, like, I'm super happy that we have them, and that my state does these type of things. These are things that you can fucking do, right? But, like, you guys have got to fucking stop with this dumb shit of, like, oh, we're just gonna fucking use this much water. Like, fucking eat it. No, stop this shit, bro. It's fucking dumb.
In regulating it, and many state laws allow landowners to pump large amounts of groundwater for a relatively low cost.
Starting in the 1940s, states issued more water rights than there was water to supply. The states have not corrected the imbalance between the number of water rights out there and the amount of water that's needed to supply them.
To address the problem, Kansas has implemented new systems that encourage landowners to make voluntary water cuts. In some areas, it worked.
In northwestern Kansas, the irrigators have used new groundwater laws and policies to really reduce the rate of depletion of the aquifer. But in southwestern Kansas, irrigators and farm and ranch owners have not used these tools.
There is still resistance to change throughout agricultural communities in the U.S.
There is a lot of farmers that believe this is their water and they're going to use it. It's allocated to them, they're going to use it, and they're going to pump it till someone tells them different.
And it's not just an agriculture problem. Groundwater is also being drained for cities, industrial use, and new housing developments, like in Arizona.
Arizona is limiting new construction around Phoenix as the state's water supply continues to dwindle.
A 2024 study revealed more than half of the aquifers in the U.S. have lost water over the last 2 decades. In parts of Utah, California, Florida, and Arizona, so much water is being pumped up, it has caused...
You know, they ask, you know what I'm saying? When are we, like, what is the carrying capacity of our planet? I think we might have passed it. I think we might have blown by it and didn't notice. Because these are the type of problems, like, you know, if you ask, like, hey, what would be a problem, you know what I mean, of having too many fucking people? One of those problems might be you don't have enough fucking water. Like, you're legit. Like, real shit.
Causing roads to buckle, land to sink, and fissures to open in the earth.
California has issues where there's so much water has been extracted, it's actually dropping by tens of feet in terms of the water got removed and then the ground is starting to sink down.
Overpumping can also contaminate drinking water supplies, like on Long Island in New York. Salt water is encroaching on parts of the aquifer that provide drinking water for over 3 million people. Despite the mounting challenges, hydrology experts say there's still time to save these critical natural resources.
There's a window of opportunity here for us to get this aquifer onto a more sustainable path. Not sustainability, but on a more sustainable path. And the key there is to reduce pumping.
Throughout the country, more and more cities are expanding wastewater recycling programs, turning...
Can we address the food supply? By chance. Can we address the fact that, like, maybe companies shouldn't be using high fructose corn syrup in every fucking thing, right? Or maybe, you know what I mean, we shouldn't be feeding cows like fucking grains or feeding cows corn and shit, right? Like, maybe, you know what I mean, like, you know, we should have a more sustainable food system. Maybe we should have some local food system, because I don't know if you notice this, right? But like a lot of these places have what's known as yards, and these yards, you know what I mean, can hold things like chickens, right? And gardens, and you know, I mean, the chickens will eat the bugs off the garden, so you don't need pesticides. Like, there's a lot of things that you can do to, like, help all this shit, you know what I mean, become way more sustainable, right? And I understand that, like, we don't want to, like, have to dedicate some of our time to being, you know what I'm saying, outside away from video games, right? You know what I mean? Because, like, you're all a bunch of fucking piece of shit, garbage ass bug men who, you know what I mean, probably deserve to take a bath with a toaster. But, you know what I mean, maybe, just maybe, you know what I mean, like, we should go back to being like fucking human beings. I'm just, you know what I mean, spitballing here.
City sewage directly into drinkable water. This strategy can be used in agriculture too.
So people are waking up to the public reality that groundwater is a public resource. And we have seen political initiatives across the West that show that groundwater is not going to...
Listen, it's not so much that this is a public resource. I feel like when the ground starts sinking around you because you pump too much water out, there might be a fucking problem, you know what I'm saying, that you want to address. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of where that is. You know, like when the ground lets you know that there's not enough, that you pump too much fucking water out. You know what I mean? Like, you might want to think about what the fuck you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, you might want to address some shit. Have that type of conversation. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an asshole. I mean, there's a possibility. But, you know, yeah, how about we don't do that? Okay? Because, you know, some of us have children coming up and they need to eat too. Right? I understand, like, you don't give a shit about the Mexicans, but it's your fault for letting the Mexicans fuck in. You know, maybe if you would have kept this country white, we would have been okay. You know what I mean? You could have gave a shit about the future people. Or maybe if, you know what I mean, like, we didn't, like, stand here and, like, continue to have an empire on this fucking continent. We just split this bitch up into, like, proper little nations that, you know what I mean, motherfuckers gave a shit about. But, I mean, like, listen, this is y'all's fault, okay, in the end of the day. And we need to, like, fucking address this shit and stop being ridiculous. I'm Tom P. of Pnoid News. You'll know to like, share, and subscribe. I'm up out of here.